Hola from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva, and welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Saturday, y'all. Hey, 1SP. Thank you for coming. Happy Saturday. Well, the movie that I was shooting is over now. It's a wrap, so to speak. We finished up pretty much everything. I think there's like one more scene that has to be done, but I'm not in it. All my scenes are done. It was a long night last night. I've had several things happen over the last couple of days. I've had a flat tire, and I've had to replace a starter on my car. Crazy 2 days for me while I've been off. But I'm cool because, God got this. I have to say that to myself, even in the midst. He got this. So we are in the midst of August, and as I told you guys, and I'm sharing out my stream right now, this is the month that I started doing my stream. Come on. Sorry I'm so late tonight. I was actually trying to catch up on some of you guys' streams, and also I was listening to one of the people who actually got me to doing live and to actually doing my channel. I was listening to a story time on her channel. So shouts out to Joe V Beauty. Um, it's a funny little story time she's doing tonight. Um, but and I also was listening, just trying to catch up on some of the people that I subscribe to, catching up on their live streams. One of the things that I'm finding out, which is really weird on here, is that you gotta watch YouTube because it'll unsubscribe you to people if you don't go watch their videos. So please watch people's videos if you're subscribed to them, if you're supporting them for real. Just putting that out there for other folks because it's something that I am doing. Whew, I had to drink a little water, wet my palate. But the movie, I think, is going to touch people. I've been like watching a lot of the movies out there, like some of the ones that are coming out through Uplifting and through Pure Flicks. And I think once this is edited, all the music is laid into it. The story is going to be powerful. And I think we're able to make it realistic and not so much like we were acting, because it was important to give life to these characters, the good and the bad, because we serve a God of redemption. And this movie, shows the good and bad. And the people that are in this movie are quote unquote church folk. But it also talks about some of the stuff, that goes on in the Black community. So I think that people are going to be very surprised and very pleased with it when it does come out, because we do mention the COVID-19 in it, because we literally were filming this in the middle of COVID-19. But Also, let me see who just came in the room. Hey, Lawrence. Hey, homeboy. Thank you for coming. I know it's late for you. It's late for you and for 1SP. You guys are both, I think, like several hours ahead of me. So I do appreciate you guys coming on through. I am pushing my way to the road to 4K. You know, doing my lives. I got to get back into my consistency, y'all. I was kind of off track for a while, but I'm trying to get myself back into it because I enjoy doing the lives. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is something that 45 has said in the last couple of days, y'all. He's always saying something dumb, but his latest thing that he is saying is that Joe Biden hurts God. Now, this is coming from a man who does not really even go to church, okay? But he's representing the Christians. Another reason I don't say I'm a Christian. I'm a believer in the Most High. But he's putting this out there. And now, I have a lot of, issues with Catholicism because I was raised Catholic. But there are people who are saved in the Catholic Church, despite that. And as far as I know, Mr. Biden is a very devout Catholic. I mean, he's into all of the stuff. Putin carries a rosary around with him, etc. And isn't 45's current wife Catholic? I wonder how they got married in the Catholic Church, or maybe they didn't get married in the Catholic Church. Because, if you are divorced, you're not supposed to be able to get married again in the Catholic Church. Unless the previous marriage is annulled by the church. But yeah, so this is the lunacy that is coming out of 45's mouth currently in his attempts to steer people away from his opponent. And, his opponent is no saint. I've already said that. But unfortunately, in this presidential election that is a little over 90 days away from now, we have got to really look at what's going on. Okay, this man is talking craziness. So Biden wants to hurt God, is what 45 is saying. So let's talk about that. Biden wants to hurt God, but Biden was he was going to church. I mean, and not saying going to church means anything, but at least he was practicing his faith. Other than Mr. Trump getting out in front of the church across the street from the White House, holding a Bible, and the few occasions that they, have shown him go into a house of worship, I don't see this man as someone who, fellowships with the Most High. I don't see him as that. I see him as a perpetrator that for whatever reason, white Christians and some black Christians, but primarily white Christians in this country are backing, no matter how immoral this freaking man is. I mean, let's really, really get into it about him. How many times has he been married? you know, and how many wives has he cheated on? Does this man even believe in the sanctity of marriage? It's crazy, you know, but he wants to say that Joe Biden hurts God. Okay. So let's look at Joe Biden on those same formats. Now, Joe Biden has been married twice. You know, his first wife is deceased, and he was a widower, and he remarried. So, yeah, he pretty much followed protocol within, you know, his faith. And then, I mean, from a moral standpoint, I haven't seen any types of scandals with him. Yeah, he had some issues in his past when it came to dealing with busing kids back during the 70s, you know. But in my humble opinion, and I'm not even talking about Joe Biden, but I'm saying some of the other people that were involved in a lot of that stuff back then thought that they were doing the right thing, but it wasn't really the right thing. But they thought that it was the right thing. So, you know, he and Kamala Harris have their issues going on. And let me state again, Kamala Harris is not black. And let me state it for the people in the back of the room. Kamala Harris is not black. Okay? Um, and so the irony of her fighting with him about all of that stuff was crazy. Because that's the only time I've ever seen her really fighting for black people, because let's be honest, in the state of California, she doesn't. She didn't. Hope Mr. Biden is not considering her really seriously. Personally, I think he should pick Susan Rice or Stacey Abrams. Yeah, one of them. I think he should stay away from Kamala Harris. Oh, I know that God can use anyone, 1SP. I'm not saying that God has not done some things and made Mr. Trump do some things that were for his glory. But at this time, when I'm looking at this man, he's not doing things. We are praying for our country, but the way that he is running our country appears to be godlessly to me. No matter what he portrays, what his mouth says, that's what I feel. Um, Personally, right now, I feel that there is an attack on religious freedom um, under the guise of COVID-19 and protecting us. And although he's made little threats and stuff to try to push things, he really has no power to force states to allow us to open up and have religious assembly. He has no power to do it. He has no power to do some of the things that he's doing, what, which is why he's problematic to me. That's where my issues are with him. You know, it's not about God using him. It's about the things that he has taken liberties to do that he doesn't have the power to do as the president of the United States. Like, for example, I know that we need some kind of stimulus package to come out, and we need something to be extended in regards to the supplement to unemployment. but it's supposed to go through Congress. Like it or not, that's the way we have it set up. And that is to protect us from a dictatorship and from the president taking action, doing things on his own that he does not have the power to do under executive order. So currently, he's trying to do said thing. He's trying to circumvent Congress to push through certain things that he wants. Now, the things that he wants are right for the American people. Don't get me wrong on that. But his methods to get them through is what I have an issue with. You know, that's where my issue is. Um, and crazily enough, this is something from what I can see, because I haven't dug into the layers, that would actually help most of the people that need it, including people who are still employed but don't make over a certain amount of money. Now, it's not another stimulus check, but it is something. And it's supposed to have a protection for eviction. But he has no power to do any of this stuff. No power whatsoever. Congress has to do it. And they can't seem to get their act together. They can't seem to get their act together. So, yes, God could absolutely use Mr. Trump. And I do believe that he is using Mr. Trump. But I think some of the ways that he's using Mr. Trump is not the way that we think that he should be using him. Because some of the things that he's doing is really to get people's attention. It's God is getting our attention. Some people thought this is what they wanted. They wanted a white president at any cost that was not in the Obama circle. And, for all intents and purposes, Hillary really wasn't that popular. And if Joe had run 4 years ago, he would have probably won. Now, he's going after an incumbent Donald Trump, who, even though this man has done all kinds of crazy stuff, I have issues with the fact that I feel many people are just don't give a damn and are not going to vote, and we're going to have them for another 4 years. At which point, they should have nothing to say. See what you guys are saying. Building nothing. I'm trying to read. Yes. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm catching everything. But, I'm going to be voting. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir, with the exception of 1SP. Unless 1SP, do you still get to vote? I mean, because you're still technically a U.S. citizen who lives in another country. I don't believe you lost your right to vote. You just have to be registered to vote and vote abroad. But I know I'm preaching to the choir. But the problem is that we're already dealing with him doing dumb stuff. Because now he's trying to make people question the validity of mail-in votes. Now, there are instances where they've been pushed through when they didn't get there on time. But for the most part, most states are following the laws in regards to mail-in votes. And this year, the mail-in vote is probably more critical because a lot of people are not going to want to go to the polling places to vote. I'm one of those people I don't really trust not bringing my vote in, so I probably will fill out the mail-in thing and then if, drop it off at the one of those polling places. That's me. But I think they're going to give you, if they're going to give you a bunch of days before the election to vote, like they did for the primaries, then that might be different. Thankfully, the California primaries were before this happened, but many states' primaries have been since it happened. We're going to be having 2 virtual conventions. The Democratic and the Republican conventions are going to be virtual. And then you have to think about the fact that how are these 2 men going to work to get people to vote for them? Now we know Trump's doing his rallies because people are going to come to rallies. They don't apparently give a damn. But is Joe Biden going to start to do some rallies? Is he going to do some virtual rallies? What is this man going to do to get our vote? Don't assume that you just got it because we don't want to vote for Trump. Because there's many people who are just not going to vote. You need to motivate them to vote, Mr. Biden. You need to vote. I know. I think about that 1SP. I think about the Saul David situation. I do. I do think about that when I think about what's going on. That's exactly what comes to my mind. But in that situation, at least, Saul you had some kind of communication with the Most High. And he honestly, I think, realized he was not the person. But this person doesn't realize that they're not the person. You know? And so they're just doing what they want to do. If I felt that 45 truly had the best interests of this country and the people that make up this country, including us 13 percenters, I wouldn't even be talking about this. But I don't see that. He's done nothing to make me believe that. Nothing. I know. Yeah, I know. Samuel, he was the anointed one. He was anointed to be king. But we know that Mr. Trump was not anointed to be president. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that Obama was anointed to be president. That would be foolish on my part. But I can at least look at the fact that he appeared to have a real relationship with God. Granted, he had a radical pastor in Chicago. Pastor Jeremiah Wright he had, that man had some serious stuff going on, and some of his doctrinal stuff was kind of off the wall. I'm going, so for that perspective, the Obamas were right to kind of step away. But I don't even know who is Mr. Trump's quote unquote religious advisor. When he first came in, it was Paula White, which is a scary situation. If you look into Paula White, she has serious issues with her doctrine. You know, but the president doesn't have to be a Christian or a believer. They really, really don't. But they have to be someone who can be used. And I don't see Mr. Trump, 45, allowing himself to be used. If he was allowing himself to be used, it would be a different situation. I don't see him allowing himself to be used. Because see, that's what I pray. When I pray for this president, I pray that he allows himself to be used. You know? But he has his own agenda. And that's my problem with him. If he was allowing himself to be used, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I vote my conscience. And I talk to God about it. That's just me. Because, I don't know, for some dumb reason, I guess, I kind of think that it's a big deal voting for who the hell is going to run this particular country. And it has a huge impact because it doesn't really just impact our country. It impacts the rest of the world, as you can see. You know, now we're not part of WHO, but, you know, we still don't know who is, do we? Not really. We don't know who is behind who or any of that. But I, I sit here and think about things that are going on with COVID. I think about the populations that are most impacted by it. And then I remember a time in American history when this country allowed black people to go untreated for something that was treatable. And I'm speaking about syphilis and the Tuskegee experiment or the Tuskegee study, whatever you want to call it. So I wonder, whenever they do have a quote unquote medication for this, if they're going to try to do some experiments again. I don't trust the CDC. You know why I don't trust the CDC? Well, let me explain a little story to y'all. It's a little story about autism and the connection to vaccinations, which I know people continuously say is false, a fallacy. However, why was there a CDC whistleblower who talked about it? Talked about the fact that for some reason, because of these bundled vaccinations that our children get, black and brown boys have a higher propensity of being on the autism spectrum, being labeled ADD, ADHD, Asperger, autism. Hey, misunderstood. Yeah, it does. So, and this whistleblower, they're not around. They're nowhere to be found. They're probably in hiding. But the CDC knows. They know. Yet and still, vaccinations are mandatory at this point. But I know people who opted out when they could opt out. And I know that you can request them to be delayed and not all given before the age of 2. That's right. Because I still remember getting some of my vaccinations. You know why I remember? Because I was about to go to school. I was about to go to the first grade. That's when I got the last of them. Because that's the way that they used to do it. But now, they give them all before the age of 2, unless you stop them from doing it that way. By simply telling the doctor, the pediatrician, that you want them scheduled out and you don't want them all at one time. Which means they get one vaccination at one point. You wait, you do the next one. You wait, you do the next one. I'm giving you guys some knowledge. They won't tell you this. And this is what I feel caused it in my own son. Because he had them bundled and he had them all before age 2. By the time he was 18 months old, it had changed him. And he became autistic. And he has a high IQ. And he's probably smarter than most of us. But it doesn't communicate the way that we do. And the CDC and the US government know that it does something in some kids. But do you know what it would cost them if they did things the right way? And some people have been paid off. In other words, they've sued the government and won. This is the kind of stuff that goes on in our country. I know they think that we don't feel anything. They think they don't really care that more black children and brown children have autism. And if you go over to Africa, we don't even know how many have it because it's very third world when it comes to autism. Very third world. And they rely on over here and our knowledge. Oh yeah, no, my son isn't. Yeah, he's. We have support, but now in the middle of COVID, there's no services. He has no services. I'm in the process of getting him in-home support services, um, which is basically money from the state. Money from the state that to basically to fund additional things for him. For example, all the things that I do for him as a parent of him being an adult. It's money that they give me because he basically needs 24/7 care, not because he's not, you know, able to do certain things, Hey, Miss Mahogany. Hey, Terry. But because he can just walk off, and the world is not a safe place for him as a black man with autism. It wouldn't even be a safe place for him if he was what they consider a higher functioning black man with autism. But this president, his niece, thinks he might fall on the spectrum, which would explain a lot, actually. Wouldn't explain away his narcissism, but it would explain a lot. But I don't think he's autistic. I just think he's a narcissist. Autism is too good for him. And people have speculated that his son with his current wife may have it, but I'm not going to put that on that kid because, first of all, we barely see the kid. He seems to be painfully shy and does not want to be out in the limelight. And the mom is very, very protective over him. So, I mean, if he is on the autism spectrum, hopefully they're doing what they need to do for him. But I don't know if that kid's on the autism spectrum. I do know that this president in his current state is not the right person for this, for our country, in what we're going through. Not with the health situation that we're going through. I don't know personally if he would be the right president for us in any situation, based on his actions, based on what he does. You know, just like everybody said, well, give him a chance since he got in there. Okay, so we've watched him. We've watched this man in office say some outlandish things. I mean, the latest. Should I be surprised that he's saying that Joe Biden hurts God? He's saying this so he can keep his little Christian coalition behind him. Nonetheless, Joe Biden himself is Catholic, and I know people don't consider Catholic Christian, so y'all know my thoughts about the Catholic Church. It is riddled with paganism. It is riddled with sexual deviance. Priests who have done things to kids. And that's my problem with it. The truth is not in it. There are people in it that know the truth, but the vast majority are ignorant because they need to open up their own daggone Bibles and look in there and see who's really in that Bible. See who's really in that Bible. Hey, D. Darrell. So, this man hopefully only has a couple of more months being in office. Hopefully. But I'm going to tell y'all something. If he loses this election, it's going to be really hard to get him up out of there. He's that person that you have to worry about from that perspective. He's going to try to do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm telling you. He's going to try to do all kinds of crazy stuff. But I don't think he's the person that needs to lead us in the next 4 years. I mean, I have an issue with both of the presidents being, presidential candidates being senior citizens as it is. We need somebody that's under the age of, I don't know, 50 again when they go into office. You know, yes, the presidency ages you, but dang, you need to be a younger man to be truly in touch with what this country currently is, who this country really is. Our current president is out of touch. And I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't know how much more in touch Mr. Biden is. He needs to show me. He needs to show me that. You know, I'm not a rubber stamper voter. Sorry, not sorry. I don't just rubber stamp vote. But, Lord, what's going on? Our choices. Our choices, y'all. We have a lack of choices. The reason we have a lack of choices is because we don't get involved in politics. And we're starting to get more and more of us involved. But we need to get in there. We need to get some of these people who are in these offices out. And that's from the local to the state to the national level. We need to get these people out of there. It's our own fault that this man is in office. Y'all know that. It's either our fault because we didn't vote, or some of us foolishly voted for him. I want some young meat. I'm just saying, we need a younger president. That was a good thing about 44. When he went into office, he was under the age of 50. So he was more in touch with the generation, the generations that were under 50. And the majority of the people who vote are under the age of 50. Think about that. A lot of young people did not vote in the last election. They were very disenfranchised. We can't have that happen again. We as a country cannot afford our younger people to not vote. Hey, verbal assassin. We can't afford for them to not vote. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck with this same BS again for 4 more years. I don't think I can take 4 more years of him. I don't think I can take 4 more years. I'm trying to think of anything positive that has happened while this man has been in office, you know, that would benefit my community, my people, you know, my state, anything. I just try to think. He's pushed down the rate of new homeowners. Many people who lost their homes doing the Big Short still have not regained that footing of being a homeowner. Um, all the jobs that were there from Obama are gone. But I'm sure he's going to blame that on the Democrats. He doesn't take ownership of his anything that he does wrong. He takes no ownership of his own mistakes. How can this man be the leader of the free world and not take ownership of things that he does that are not right? When he goes against his own advisors. I'm just looking to see what you guys are saying. We have a foolish president. Um, I don't think he's the best man for the job. I don't think he's the best person for the job. I know that's the truth. That's the truth, verbal assassin. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. And my personal opinions, I don't like either candidate, but I'm going to vote. You know, I mean, but here's the thing: why does it always have to be the lesser of two evils for us as a nation? I think the only time that it did not feel like it was the lesser of two evils was when 44 ran. And yeah, no, a lot of things didn't happen that we wanted to happen, those of us who are people of color. And I've already gone through the fact that he was not, you know, quote unquote, the black president that we think he is, because the man's half white. And his wife's and his white side, he's a cousin to the Bushes. Okay? So Trump is the lesser of two evils. Why do you think that? Why do you think that, verbal assassin?
What? See, that's why I don't talk to them.
I was like, why do you think that? I don't think that he is. We are in a catch-22, Miss Mahogany. That's my dilemma. Is we are in a catch-22. And really, for me, I want to see who Biden is going to have as his running mate. I think that's going to probably steer some people. Not him, but who runs with him. Because I don't know anybody that cares for Pence. Ugh. The man is a racist who hides behind religion. Oh, I'm not saying that Biden's better than Trump. But I'm saying that what I'm looking for is who is running with him. And whoever runs with him may make him the better choice. But it depends on who he's going to put on the ticket with him. Because we already know that it's going to be a woman. And it appears that it's going to be a black woman. That's what it appears. Because, I'm not even thinking about Kamala Harris because I told y'all that woman is not black. So, taking her out of the equation, I know y'all know I just don't care for her. She's fake. She has a fake indignation for the thing for issues that concern black people. I'm telling you that from someone who lives in the state that she was the attorney general for. The woman doesn't give a damn about us. And she really don't care about black men. Because she pushed for a lot of that stacking of charges. And I'm going to keep saying that so people hear that. So if he puts her on the ticket with him, he's just shooting himself in the foot. People do not like her. She was not going to even win her own state. Uh, right wings, yeah. I with with Mr. with Mr. Biden, I think he was the safer choice for many of the Democrats than Bernie Sanders. I don't know why. I think because people think Bernie Sanders is has socialistic tendencies. I don't know. They're all old though. All these men are pushing 80. They're all almost as old as my father. And I'm not gonna say my dad is out of touch, but my dad would, is not of an age where he's gonna be really looking at things of the younger country. And that's where my issue is with 45. He's not he's like trying to preserve the stuff for the old heads now. But what about the future generations? That's what you're supposed to be doing, I feel, in that office. And I just see him destroying things. He's got an idiot in there over the Department of Education. You know, some of the other people he has in certain places are not the best qualified for those offices. I don't even think he still has many vacant positions almost 4 years in. I just I'm seeing what I see. I'm not about giving my vote to anybody at this point. Somebody's got to earn my vote. Ain't nobody earned it. Not yet. And that's what I'm saying. We are 90 days out and nothing. And that's what 45 kind of hoping. That's what I'm trying to do is vote for my best interest too, Miss Mahogany. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me something that's in my best interest. You know, don't lump me in you know, because you think this is what black people want to hear. We, we're on something different. Voting white, right wing. Yeah, I know it won't work. Um, Misunderstood. But that's what. But see that because many people feel that Bernie Sanders has those socialistic tendencies, it made him problematic as a serious contender for the presidency. It made Joe Biden a safer choice, you know. And I'm not saying this is who the Democratic Party has to offer up. Unfortunately, you know, all of the other parties that are out there aren't strong enough to push anyone that could actually win the presidency. Let's just be real about it from that perspective. And as I said before, I don't know what the hell Kanye is doing, but causing confusion, you know. I feel that he's jumping in there to dip votes from one or the other. I'm not sure who he's working for. Oh yeah, people still haven't done the census. They're still trying to get people to do the census. I mean, let me tell you people what's going to happen if you don't do that census. And even if you do it, they still send they're going to start sending people out to people's houses to come and take the census in person. Now, I've done the census every time, and they always come to my house anyway. I still get them coming to my house. But they're going to come to your house if you don't fill out that stuff. Who's made more money? You made more money under, well, I didn't. I'll say that. I mean, but the industry that I work in is the industry that collapsed, but it didn't collapse because of Obama. It collapsed because of greed. I work in real estate lending. Um, I don't work on the front side anymore, but I did before, and DC was balling. you know, I was comfortable for a long time, but the Big Short happened, and when Obama came in office, what it helped me is to help money come in. I think I was able to collect unemployment for a couple of years because it took a minute to get another job. But I got that other job while he was still in office during that 8-year period. I'm looking at you guys talking in the thing. Oh no, I agree with you on that, Verbal. The Democratic Party, I believe, needs to. I'm going to say both political parties need to do some things to show us 13 percenters that if they really want us to think that we belong, because we know that at one point in history, many blacks were Republicans. During the first part of the 20th century, we know that was true. Many of the more affluent blacks were Republicans. I mean, from what I understand, the founders of my sorority, you know, were Republicans. Hence that elephant that we have. But then there was a shift, and somehow more blacks were in the Democratic Party because of certain things that happened. I know, with the civil rights and everything. But the Democrats are also the ones who have us in this welfare state, and kept that welfare state going on. So you got to look at it from all of those perspectives. That's probably why I am independent. That's probably why I don't belong to the Democratic Party. You know, and both of my parents, were part of the civil rights movement, dealing with voting, but they don't care. They didn't care that all of their children left the Democratic Party because we all left. They just cared that we take the time to vote. And yeah, I do vote Democrat on a lot of things, but I don't always. I vote the way I want to vote. Yeah, exactly. I don't like either party. I don't like either candidate, to be perfectly honest with you. But these are my choices. So I have to choose one of those two if I'm voting. And as we saw in the last election, voting counts because people didn't vote, electorals went differently than the popular vote. And that's the same thing that happened to Al Gore way back when. People really need to understand that part of the election process. The way our country was set up is that we were set up so that we could never elect a president by the popular vote. It always is going to go to the electoral college. Now they've made it so that those electoral college members are going to have to vote exactly whatever it is that we, the voters, have voted for them to vote. In the past, they could vote any way they wanted to, but they can't do that anymore. Yeah, get that money. I understand what you're saying, verbal assassin. And here's my things in looking at presidential candidates. I'm looking at opportunities. I'm looking at which one is going to legitimately give the more opportunity, not really for myself, but for the next generation. The generation after me, who are of voting age, but they're the ones who are going to still be building this country. You guys are. In a few years, hopefully, I'm going to be retired. Hopefully. But I'm talking about my son's age, the 25-year-olds, the 35-year-olds. How is it going to benefit them? And I haven't seen a whole lot of that with this current president. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's happening and I just don't see it. So, do the president do? I'm looking to see what Misunderstood said. The Democrats threw the black congressman out of office because they were Republican and made the white people think of black people as criminals. Well, that's a perspective that they've had about us for many, many years. I mean, we all know that in most situations, that was the reason that they had police departments, was to, control us. So that's part of the reason why we have all these issues with police brutality. Because instead of us being looked at, as a person, we're looked at as a thug or criminal first, even when we do not present ourselves that way. Birth of a Nation. Oh, Lord. That movie, that movie really brought back white supremacy. That movie really brought back. And you know what? I've never actually seen that original movie from way back when. I've seen excerpts from it, but I've never actually watched the full thing. I don't think I could sit through the full thing. I don't think that I could sit through something that glorifies the Ku Klux Klan. I don't think I could do it. So, you know, I don't think I could do it. But I'm sure that movie is out there floating around the internet, and people can find it and they can watch it if they so choose. Good night, Misunderstood. Thank you. I'm getting ready to come on camera, you guys, 'cause I'm about to jump off of here too. About to take these braids down tomorrow. Not tonight. They're coming out. Let me come on camera for y'all. Hey, everybody. Huh. See my crazy hair? Taking these down. David, say hi. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the phone. Look forward. Look there. There you go. Say hi. Say hi. Hi. All right. Okay. All right. This has been a very, very, very um, informative conversation, you guys. I like it when we get into this because I don't vote emotionally. I'm trying to look at everything. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. And that's why I ask questions. That's why I make the statements that I'm saying because this is what I'm seeing. You might be seeing something completely different than I am, but we all need to figure out what we're going to do in November. And we have to be responsible in that decision because it's going to affect not just the next 4 years, not just the next 4 years. That's what people don't understand. It's not going to just affect the next 4 years. So think about it from that standpoint. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank y'all for coming and hanging out with the sister. I appreciate it. I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to be taking all these down tomorrow. I already got the hair braided again. We'll see if it gets braided tomorrow. But I'll see y'all tomorrow at some point. Peace and blessings from the West Side. And everybody continue to be safe. I'm out. Peace.